Hello everyone, this is Dr. 𝗗cie𝗿𝗃. Now, in this video, I will be talking about not about NEET UG but on NEET PG, in fact about NEET SS. Alright. So, I did my DM in Pediatric Oncology from AIIMS Delhi and I secured an all-India rank of 2 in the DM Pediatric Oncology exam. So, in this video, I wanted to talk to every pediatric resident who is thinking about either a resident or a practicing pediatrician who's thinking about taking the plunge into the super specialty or the subspecialty as far as pediatrics is concerned. So, we all know that the timeline for NEET SS is that is probably going to happen in March. And in this video on how to prepare for NEET SS, I'll basically give you a brief idea about what should the timeline be, what content should you use, how to practice, and how do you go about your revision. So this is going to be the how the video is going to proceed. Now, as far as timeline is concerned, since the exam is probably going to be the end of March, let's assume it's on 30th of March, something like that. The first thing I would say is that you should go with your first reading of Nelson, because we all know Nelson is the gold standard, right? You should go through your first reading of Nelson, not the entire Nelson, but at least the important topics of Nelson in the first 3 months. All right, in the first 3 months. And what I did, I also prepared for my DM and I was preparing for my FD exit exams and I was preparing for my DM exams simultaneously, and I prepared for around a duration of 5 to 6 months only. All right, this is what I've also followed. Over a period of next 3 months, that is 12 weeks, you should go about one system per week. That's a very simple and not too hectic for you also. So one system per week. So in 1 week, you're going to do hematology, next oncology, nephrology. There are around 10 systems, and add NICU and PICU to that, around 12 systems will be there. So from November till February mid, all right, from November mid to February mid, that is 3 months, you should complete your first read. All right. Along with that, simultaneously, a little bit of question bank practice should be done. Then one revision in the month of February to March, or whatever you have read here. This reading should include making notes, right? And a final revision of your notes towards the last 15 days. That's it. The purpose of these 3 months, from the middle of November to the middle of February, is to make notes from Nelson. Okay. So 3 basic revisions or 3 reads and your notes, making notes in the first 3 months and then revising it twice over the next 1.5 months. That's it. That's the basic timeline that you need to follow. One system per week, nothing too hectic. All right. Now, which content? So we all know the gold standard is obviously Nelson. All right, the gold standard is Nelson. Ideally, you should read the important topics from Nelson. For PICU and NICU, I would say not read Nelson, but to read the AIIMS protocols. Read the PICU protocols of AIIMS and the NICU protocols of AIIMS. And from this, read a topic, synthesize the topic in your own mind, and make the notes. Make your own notes. Now, how to filter out content? Because obviously the entire Nelson cannot be read. I do understand that. Understand that as far as NEET SS is concerned, the topics stay similar to NEET PG, to be very honest. The important topics of NEET PG are important in NEET SS also. Cystic fibrosis was important in NEET PG, it is still important. Nephrotic syndrome was important, still important. Leukemias were important, still important. That's not going to change. A lot of people think that when you come to NEET SS, you are going to need to do a lot of obscure stuff. No, obscure topics are not important. Obscure topics, they're actually not important. What's important is that those NEET PG topics, because now you are MD in pediatrics, you should know in depth. Okay, now you should just not know that cystic fibrosis caused because of cystic CFTR gene. You should know the treatment in depth, the newer drugs in depth. So important topics done in depth is more important as compared to doing obscure topics. And second thing is tables. Tables. Ideally, the tables of Nelson should be done. So what I did personally, so I read Nelson, I read PICU protocols, NICU protocols, and I made notes. One particular, this is my hematology oncology notes. One notebook for each system, something like that. All right. Now, other option is, because sometimes people are not really good at note making, is you can go through videos of these multiple platforms. For example, I'm teaching at Doctutorials. There's another platform called PrepLadder. There's another platform. So both platforms are good. I'm not going to say PrepLadder is better or Doctutorials is better. Obviously, as a biased one, I will say Doctutorials is better. That's up to you to decide. I would say that definitely choose Doctutorials, right, over PrepLadder. But that's obviously your decision to make. I would say that in the one major advantage of Doctutorials is, so this is how the notes of Doctutorials look like. All right, so we have basically this 2 volumes notes. So instead of making notes, you will have these Nelson derived notes if you take the Doctutorials videos. All right, so it will be like a shortcut. But obviously, the better for revision, obviously handwritten notes always score higher. So I would always advise to make handwritten notes, but this is something also you can use. Now, one major advantage of Doctutorials, which is the reason I will say that you should prefer Doctutorials over PrepLadder, you should definitely consider Doctutorials, is the presence of QRP. QRP is quick revision programs. So what we have done at Doctutorials, Dr. Vishnu and Dr. Divya, we have done at Dr. Tools is that all the Nelson tables, all right, along with the videos, we have QRP videos as well. In these QRP videos, the most important Nelson tables, we have discussed those tables. So you will have a really concise source of video source towards the end if you really want that. That's a very big advantage that you get if you choose Dr. Tools over, let's say, PrepLadder. All right. So using QRP for the most important Nelson tables, most important PICU and NICU protocol tables. All right. Now, coming to practice. So I said one system per week you have to do, simultaneously you have to do QBank. The good thing about Dr. Tools QBank is you can actually ask your medicine surgery colleagues. This is not something which I'm just going to say. You ask your medicine surgery colleagues also. Here, unlike NEET PG, where you needed a QBank, where you probably started practicing QBank in 3rd year, 4th year, now you need a QBank which is a little more to the point, because you can't do everything. Nelson is way too vast, right? You need something which is a little more to the point, which is not bloated, to say the least. And that's the best part about DocuBank. It is Nelson derived, but it is not bloated. The explanations are not so much that, okay, you are just lost in the explanations. To the point, what is required explanations, and Nelson derived. All right. Even for medicine and surgery, the best QBank which people end up saying is Dr. Tools, and the same way is valid, I can say is valid for pediatrics as well. So even if you're not someone who's looking for the videos, you probably would have doing some other platform, but QBank definitely I would say you should use Dr. Tools. Like that's like a hard recommendation. Videos might still be a soft recommendation, but the Doc QBank I would say is actually genuinely a hard recommendation. Like, and that's not simply because I'm a faculty at Dr. Tools. Like yes, that bias is there, but you can yourself ask your medicine colleagues who are preparing for NEET SS, you can ask your surgery colleagues who are preparing for NEET SS surgery. They will say the DocuBank is a better one out there. The test series of the doc is better out there. Why? Because it is not bloated. It's not that other platforms don't have QBank and test series, but they're very bloated. So you can't revise from them. It can't serve as a revision source, those QBanks, right? So that's why I will definitely recommend the DocuBank. But again, definitely a hard recommendation from my side, but obviously you're free to choose. Okay. Another thing that I would say that what I have done a little bit specifically in Dr. Tools is elite test and discussion. So it's basically a test and discussion. So from a practice point of view, like in NEET PG, you have to have test and discussion. We have elite test. So from January, every week, one particular system we are going to discuss in the form of question and answers, video questions and answer. Like 30 questions will be there. You will be able to solve them, and then a video discussion from us, from the faculty. We will be explaining each of the questions in depth. So you'll actually have a test and discussion. You'll actually have a schedule which you can actually follow. All right, this will be starting from the first week of January. So another really good point I would say, as compared to just having videos, QBank, and so most platforms will have just videos, QBank, and test series. Here you have this test and discussion kind of videos also. Here you have the QRP videos, which are basically your Nelson tables also, and a really good QBank which is not bloated. Okay, so this is what we did last year also, and a lot of people actually in AIIMS Pediatric DM, I saw a lot of people who specifically did this test series, because what we have done is test series. So other person with me is Divya, and other person is Dr. Vishnu. Dr. Vishnu and me, we both are did an undergraduation from AIIMS. Now, good part about doing our undergraduation from AIIMS, he did his post-graduation from PG, I did my post-graduation from AIIMS also, is that we know the insights of AIIMS. We do know the previous year questions which they don't leak out, but the SRs have actually collected it. So we make these elite tests and discussion from those questions. This is something which will not be available in any platform. This is like a unique cheat code, especially if you are preparing for INISS. If you have any intention of INISS, these tests is something which you cannot miss. So whenever I'm going to start again in January, I'll make sure I have that QBank, like those set of questions from my seniors and my juniors as well who are there. And this is kind of a cheat code that you guys will get by having this particular platform versus this other platform. Because fair enough, like if I'm from AIIMS, let me give that advantage in this particular platform for you guys also to have that chance of clearing INISS as compared to someone else, right? All right. Now the revision strategy, like I simple said, 3 months, 1 month, 15 days. That's it. 3 revisions, QBank practice in the beginning, and then towards the end, GT practice and elite test practice. That's it. That's you're good to go. If you do this over the next 4-5 months, you will definitely get a top 100 or top 50 rank. Along with this, I will recommend that obviously for a practice point of view, give us 1 GT per month. It will keep you focused, and most platforms have a free GT. Dr. Tools is also going to have a free GT right now. It's going to have a free GT this Saturday. Go and enroll for it. Let's give it. There's no harm in giving a free grand test, right? So this is simple. 1 system per week, 3 months, 1 month revision, and another 15-day revision. In the first 3 months, the focus is to creating notes. Ideally, you should create your own handwritten notes, but you can always use other platforms as well. During revision, focus more on important Nelson tables, for which you can use QRP videos if you're using Dr. Tools, or otherwise focus on Nelson tables. And along with that, keep on giving GTs for practice and give the exam. That's it. NEET SS is frankly a little easier as compared to NEET PG. What we get scared is because of the depth of it. But if you have read Nelson once and made notes from it, nothing should scare you. Okay. I'll further make more videos on how to clarify, how to give GTs, how to practice test, how will the elite test come up in the further later videos. That's it from my side today. Thank you and have a nice day.